ReZero Season 3 Episode 10.
私の血に負けちまい上がりましたか。そこそこ高貴な血だったろうに。
That's interesting because she's taking the alias of Lugunica. What is her obsession with lineage and bloodline? I just want you to leave. I mean, that too. I mean, who knows if this is even her real body? Yeah, she can also do this. She can, like, Garfield heal. This is something you see sometimes in shows. It just hit me that I wasn't fully appreciating how horrifying it would actually be to see with your own eyes. Even if your rational mind knew, there's a lot more to sensation than the rational. It was just superficial after all. All love is superficial. I'm not begging for my life. It's gonna be frustrating if you've given up on real love. Oh, it's a decoy. That was amazing. Is it Anastasia? Yeah. What was the magic you just did? Okay, I gotta give him credit. I never saw this coming, and this was amazingly set up. Anastasia using her dark abilities for good. Oh, she's got finger blasts. Yeah, I was in a rough spot right now. Can you just let us talk a little bit more about Bloodline and True Love? No one lets the villains monologue, and it's very rude. I may have forgotten something, but I had no idea that Anastasia had fighting ability. It reminds me vaguely of Dragon Ball Z. Something weird going on with Al, right? He's kind of doing his own thing. He's going around collecting Michia by himself. He doesn't seem to have the most mutually trusting relationship with Priscilla, even though he's her knight. He told Subaru to back down, which at the time seemed like just genuine disapproval of the plan, but could have another motivation to it. He doesn't really seem to understand his predicament yet. Or I guess they, again, they're just not used to losing. Air juggling. Her level ups are insane, always. What the hell? I said that before I saw this. Just giant ice egg. I feel like we unlocked the hidden spells in this game really early. And then it freezes. Let me just leave him here. I think he's just chilling in the ice. Or he's not chilling in the ice. Reinhardt is fine. The building is not. Zero flaws. The epitome of man. I know that shot was Subaru in awe of Emilia's speech, but that's not exactly how it was framed physically. Maybe it's exactly what it looked like. It's really cool because Emilia, in her pure way, is onto something pretty nice. One thing I've thought about quite often is that there's maybe a tier list of aspirations, which is great because, you can't know the unknown. And secondly, if you're climbing up a ladder, let's say, you're gonna see higher and higher rungs as you climb and also get better at climbing in general. And the lower tiers will offer some sort of glimpse at the higher tier, but they won't be completely observable yet. So, for example, for some people who really want to be famous, what they maybe really want beyond that is approval from others. And beyond that, it's maybe something like being so great that you like yourself. And this isn't just in personality, this is reflected in all manner of ways, like we grew up watching hero shows where there's a lot of fighting and we love the fighting, but I feel like under that, even though it's not always easy to identify, is maybe something like just gravitating towards a feeling of extreme capability and confidence. I am equipped on my own to handle anything that comes my way. I'm self-sufficient and reliable and useful. Where it gets weird sometimes is it's not always an unknown. Sometimes it's something we can feel quite palpably, but it's sort of too bright of a light to look at directly. So we engineer these subsidiary stages with the thought of like, well, I need to do this step first before going for this thing that I actually know to be be great, which can be a great method, but also can contain a trap because then, you just live along the subsidiary elements forever and you get really comfortable there. You still have to face the bright light eventually, which begs kind of a terrifying question of like, what are the things I actually could just do now and face directly now that I'm kind of hiding behind preliminary stages or setup in order to get to? And this is a really interesting practical question, but back to greed, I wonder sometimes if what it all won't lead to eventually in terms of what is our role and what actually would be the most fulfilling is service to others. Just speaking personally, I think for all my finagling and wheeling and dealing around life, the moments I felt the most assured about things being great was when I could directly point to what I felt resoundingly was a positive contribution, usually in my immediate circle. A counterpoint to that would be like, well, there's plenty of times where I did something for others and I got used and I felt terrible, to which I would say, maybe that's true, but it's also possible that in that situation, it wasn't actually service. It was something done for expectation of a reward, which is in a way the opposite. I mean, it's still some kind of bartering. Greed is the antithesis of that. Everything serves him. And so it's just a throwaway line that I'm making a lot out of, but big doubt that this is wholly fulfilling in that way. It's not unlike what we already know about hedonism, where having the resources to support an unlimited amount of pleasure would be pleasurable. And that's maybe the end. And only maybe up to a point. You have an insight? It's kind of surprising to hear from Emilia, who's so kind and generous of spirit. We can't kill him with your hatred, or can we? Did he just took care of himself? He just transform? Oh. I shall become water. I didn't know he could do this. This is an episode of Power Surprises. What are you gonna do, get me wet? Oh no, it's raining! Oh, there's spikes. It didn't look that deadly at first. See how you like a little bit of drizzle. He's so impressed he forgot he doesn't know how to skate. He's just strolling through the ice. It's almost a James Bond chase scene. Okay, there's too much talking. And you should never admit that. Wait, what? He needed to get that off his chest, and he was waiting for a moment where everyone was so distracted they'd miss it. Oh, you tried. Rude. Damn, Zoro's killing it out there. He truly is the Ice Princess. We're still on the bride thing. He still thinks that this is gonna end in a marriage. Now you're just sending mixed messages. I thought you didn't want to get married. Cool. I didn't really think Whip would be cool when I first saw it, but he's making really good use of it. That was totally on you. You said the same thing twice. It's interesting he can walk on water. What's it gonna be? What's the weak point gonna be? I mean, the good news is, with Reinhardt here, we're sort of stalemated until we figure it out. We're gonna run out of letters. Wow, into his own attack. I'm impressed they really had this much laid out beforehand in that limited time. Don't smile. I have a lot of wives. Pretty face is #1 thing. Everyone exists for my benefit. Pretty standard and relatable stuff. Maybe we can beat him like in that old Simpsons Halloween special where they have to beat the rampaging advertising mascots by not paying attention to them. Just don't look. Maybe if you just don't look at greed. Stop giving him his lifeblood. Right. Oh, they're all stars. Well, so is Subaru. How did you know that? Without even Googling. What are you onto? Something made of nothing. I cannot follow that wild train of logic. Also, props to Subaru for paying attention in school. Made of nothing also is super cutting comment for Greed, the man who considers himself at the center of everything. Turns out he's made of nothing at all. In my crazy theory of like, Greed is just an attention monster, I have thought that demons become real through human conception of archetypal forces and then put into the world through human action. New demons can form as a greater than and terrible sum of its parts, though maybe that's more in the Wrath department. In the most prophetic game of all time, Metal Gear Solid 2, the shadowy organization, the Patriots, emerges from the quote-unquote crucible of the White House, implying that no one directly started it. It just came to life through a combination of individual actualizations of ethos, not unlike the way life is theorized to have begun as sort of a primordial soup of elements that just like clicked into something more than its individual components. But what does it have to do with the solar system? Speaking of wrath, my pleasure. Don't ride her emotional roller coaster. I mean, she does have a, an exuberant, bright personality. Don't get pulled in. Don't get pulled in by it. No, no. Oh no, I'm getting pulled in by it. Just go. So much for being a counter. You need to play a song. Just get my hooks in you with your emotions. Everyone's always trying to get their hooks with emotions. Yeah, I mean, I had higher expectations. Just play. Oh, okay. It's fan service, but we needed it to happen. Nothing can compare. No emotion. Why do people keep saying that? Okay, sure. Priscilla's definition of consent. If I did it, you wanted it. There's a lot of warped versions of love going around. Now you just feel empty and cold. This is her weapon. This is real power. It's hard to know how to navigate sometimes. Speaking of demonic forces that emerge as a weird, somewhat accidental combination of its parts based on individual ethos, I don't even necessarily have to attribute this to malice. There are just incentives to lead with emotion. It's just so much easier for things to take root through emotion. And emotion also, like this so beautifully depicts, has sort of a contagious element to it. So emotion as a tool of compulsion and viral spread of ideas that take shape into one form of action or another, it just feels like it has higher base stats. And I don't have enough years on Earth for a full historical perspective. And I'm also not sure if it's something that is increasing in severity or if I'm just noticing it more. It feels like there's a decreasing amount of groundedness or objectivity that is perhaps above emotion and kind of anchors us so we're not veering off in a wild and echoing, ping-ponging emotional frequency. The reason I was reflecting on this is because I'm in an environment where people talk about the news a lot. And I'm also interested in the world and its events. But there was a moment recently where I suddenly just felt very sick. Like I was being overfed the same thing again and again in every direction I turned. And I didn't quite know how to process that because I didn't want to turn off. I don't want to feel like I'm an ostrich sticking my head in the sand. If I don't look at it, it doesn't exist. But once that feeling subsided, I had the thought that like, I just don't want to be pulled into other people's panic. Like it's hard enough, it's hard enough to regulate yourself and to both engage with the world and take in the truth and also keep yourself strong without also having to deal with a constant influx of other people's hysteria. Not that they're ill-intentioned. I think one of the things that's so cool about this is you realize how unintentional and unaware it is as it's happening. If there's no effort being made towards a deliberate circuit breaker, like I can engage with this information. I want to know the truth. I don't want to have the flow of emotional currents around me be my default emotional state. And that's without even getting to the actual truth element of it. I mean, I think thinking a lot about the things we hear, again, it's not an evil thing. It looks like it's everywhere and universal because it's so widely reflected around us when actually there's probably only a couple sources. And because of, again, the massive incentives and just even evolutionary survivorship bias because it's so effective of emotional appeal, the emotional message almost travels faster than the truth of what happened. If I were to focus on some malicious thing here, I would say this is why I think it's so important to, one, build this buffer, which is really difficult. Like it's a constant effort. And two, always tell the truth because I think at least in part it stems from the absolution of what we can trust and rely on. And if we move into fully subjective territory and if enough of what we receive in our information, in our messaging, which comes mainly from people around us, which means us, is tainted, then it becomes way easier to fall into a state of panic. And two, becomes much harder to discern the truth from the lies, which is a perfect breeding ground for people who actually are malicious and would seek to use manipulative tactics for their own selfish gain. Save us, Priscilla. You're all gonna burn. It's so cool. It's always so cool. I mean, they might. I wouldn't put it past them. Maybe this is in some way metaphorically countering the emotion. Well, it's still countering emotion with emotion. It's the truth of art. Let's go with that. Someone who doesn't fall prey to mass hysteria. How many times is she gonna introduce herself? Come here and get loved. He's not that into you, because he's dead.
急げよ歌目
Priscilla also ruling with emotion. Extreme fear. Is this love? Are we getting loved? Wow. They didn't have to put this much into Priscilla, but they did.
こんなに固くなな方は初めてですよあなたの心をこんなにも固く
This is the silver lining of stubbornness
一体
and
何が
contrarianism.
原因なのでしょう
And maybe the silver lining or gift that comes from weakness in recent assassination classroom style of distrust and having been burned. The cynic or critic, the risk of that is getting trapped in opposition to the thing, which is ultimately not that different from the thing itself.
弱みを見せないことが強くあることだと思い違いしていませんか他者とつながり合い寄り添うことで
I guess it's better than just being super weak.
よくもまあ臆面もなくペラペラ
This could apply to so many villains and also me.
アイリスとイバラの王
What? Oh no. Oh, she got something. She found something. There's a vulnerability. He likes the necks, huh? Subaru pointed that out. This is maybe Reinhardt's ploy to feel his pulse. Several times, I mean, even in this episode. He's on a trip to the moon. This reminds me of Hunter x Hunter, where Neferpitou, one of the most powerful creatures on Earth, can't do anything because she's busy falling.
どう戦うの
You want to explain?
耳貸して
ちゃんと返してね
Tell us too.
あのさ今さら僕があのさ
Turning it back on
気
him.
づいてるかお前今確実に詰められてるんだぜはあ聞かせてやるよ
Maybe we can gaslight him to death.
僕が聞く権利
Appealing to his ego? I don't know what we're doing right now. It was a privileged conversation.
君なんかが僕を理解したとか言い出すわけ待て君79番はどこへやった
Where's my wife?
いいさ言ってみなよいや君みたいな人間の言葉
He's hooked.
どうした話さないのそれとも話せないのかな
For the love of God, just tell us.
ゲームプレイ中のスタートボタンってやつだ
What? Come again?
肉体の時間を止める獅子の心臓そう言い換えてもいいぜ
Stop time for his body. Reinhardt sounds way cooler than Little King. Speaking of Final Fantasy VIII, this is not related, but I'm really enjoying the music this season.
なあその顔を見りゃ
He looks somewhat alarmed.
十分だな
The plan to conquer greed. We'll never know. It's gotta feel really glorious to be standing above an archbishop pointing down at him, having had the riddle click into place. Sparrow looking awfully confident. Greed torn right now between fearing for his life and just happy to be hearing about himself. She's pulling you in a little bit now. Looks like she passed the challenge. Maybe this was different. I mean, maybe this wasn't, you know, like an authority-based emotional thing. Not that it's ever been really clear that it was magic, like a lot of things in the show. Maybe this was a more direct appeal to something specific to Priscilla. Maybe what I said about beating greed by ignoring him is actually the way to beat wrath. Either that or destroy her with cold hard logic. I don't know. Or just, you know, some sort of sharp instrument. I'm starting to think that Greed is not really a great person. He's not very nice. I know that's rude of me to say, but you think he's so perfect and majestic, but you spend some time with him and he just ends up looking like a spoiled brat. Maybe what he actually wants is an authority figure, someone to break through his childishness. Maybe he's really just looking for structure. He's just testing the boundaries of his world. No one was strong enough to shape him into a real man.